The Capitals had a big weekend in the return from the Four Nations face-off break as they down the Penguins, they down the Oilers, and Alex Ovechkin is now 13 goals away from Gretzky.
Your Locked On Capitals, your daily podcast on the Washington Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello and welcome into this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Dan Holme. I've covered the Capitals for the last 3 seasons for Locked On and various other outlets before that. I'm also the host of the weekly show called The Capitals Minutecast, available wherever you find your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So in this edition of Locked On Capitals, we talk about your Capitals as they down the Penguins by a score of 8-3 on Saturday. They down the Oilers by a score of 7-3 on Sunday. And Alex Ovechkin is now 13 goals away from Gretzky. Let's hear it. Listen, everyone that panned this team to start the season that said they are no good. Well, who is sitting atop of all of the NHL at 84 points? The Capitals. I'll talk about that a bit later. I'll talk about the Capitals as they dominate their bitter rivals by a score of 8-3. Quite a trouncing of their bitter rival. And guess what? I don't feel too sorry about it. It was a return to action that showed zero rust from this Capitals team. I'll talk about that. Then I'll talk about the Sunday matinee against the Oilers as they downed the Oilers by a score of 7-3. And Alex Ovechkin, well, he scores a hat trick. There's a lot to love, but just to get it going here, the meat and the potatoes, the big news of this weekend is Alex Ovechkin is 13 away from Wayne Gretzky. Let's hear it, Capitals fans. Let's hear it. Quite a moment, and he is getting better with time. You take a look at it, at 39 years old, there's supposed to be some sort of depreciation, that he is not as good. There's a dip in production. We have not seen that. You take a look at it, that the Capitals having no players involved in the Four Nations face-off, well, that was a blessing. I feel so bad about it. I don't feel bad about it at all, as this Capitals team right now is firing on all cylinders, and that is due in large part to our captain, Alex Ovechkin. And you take a look at it, Tom Wilson was talking about it, that he's just hungry for more. That, oftentimes a player will score a goal and they'll go back to the bench and like, yeah, I did a pretty good job. He's like, no, I want to go back out there again. And the hunger from Alex Ovechkin is real. It was earlier in the game before he scored that hat trick that he missed one, and he was using all kinds of 4-letter words and messing with his stick. And then later they panned to his wife later in the game when he missed another shot, and she's using 4-letter words. That the hunger is real by Capitals fans and Alex Ovechkin and his family, that they want to get it done sooner than later. But you take a look at it, it's going to happen sooner or later, and the Capitals are going to be the ones that benefit, because when he's scoring goals, the Capitals are going to be playing that much better. But what better way? It would have been good enough if he scored a goal. He scored a hat trick against the Oilers, quite something, albeit an empty netter, which I know are a bit of a bane of his existence. But getting it done, let's dig into what a weekend it was as he continues to astound us with incredible goal-scoring ability, reaching new milestones that made hockey history. That's one of the things I'm talking about, is that, when we talk about Alex Ovechkin, just realize and just revel in the fact that we are witnessing it within our lifetime. This is something we're going to tell our kids about, our grandkids about, that, the same way that we talk about Gretzky affectionately, that we'll talk about Ovechkin. And the good thing is he's playing for the Capitals, and we are witnessing it in our lifetime. And let that never not really just kind of not resonate with you. Just really take that all in, is that you will not see another monumental NHL event like this, most likely in your lifetime. And we are witnessing that with the great eight, Alex Ovechkin. And it's all the milestones, like I've talked about, between here and there. You also take a look at, he is the first player in the NHL history to net at least 200 goals across 3 different decades: the 2000s, the 2010s, and now the 2020s. He is getting it done. And like I say, just getting better. He's scoring at the fastest pace he has in his entire career. Quite stunning what Alex Ovechkin has been able to accomplish. And like I say, that workout that he got in Miami during the Four Nations break, where he rested and he got some workout in, that was exactly what the doctor ordered. Now, in this, most recent game here against the Oilers, Ovechkin is now at 29 goals this season and currently sits at 882, putting him just 13 away from Gretzky's 895 record. Something that seemed like something that was way on the horizon, that it's going to happen at some point, is coming right into view, and it's going to be here sooner than anyone thinks. That's what a lot of people talked about, is the projections are kind of changing all over the month of April, because people said, he could score a hat trick in here and that could change everything. It is changing everything. Imagine if he has another game with a goal or two, or, potentially another hat trick. It is quite something. But Ovechkin has adapted a wise mentality, and that is a game by game mentality. You saw that frustration when he was on the bench and he missed that hat trick earlier in the game, that I think that he was starting to see things a little bit too far ahead. He needs to almost live moment by moment, but definitely game by game is the right mentality. Ovechkin emphasized his approach to chasing the record with a, quote, game by game, unquote, mentality, reflecting his determination to stay grounded despite these heightened achievements. As you saw his son sitting in the front row, his wife and his other son there, and his relatives, that this is quite a moment. And at some point here, I didn't see him there, but Gretzky is going to have to be on standby, that he's going to want to be in the building when it happens. But like I said, at 39 years old, sometimes you hear a depreciation, like a player isn't quite as good as they once were. But in his historic 20-year career, he is scoring at the fastest pace he's ever done it. So it's quite something what he's been able to accomplish. And, you take a look at it here, just keep the pedal to the metal, and I think it's going to happen sooner than any of us think. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Tom Wilson, his teammates, they recognize that he is more hungry than anyone has ever seen it before. Whether it's a one-timer or a slap shot, he's consistently delivering impressive scoring attempts that leave opponents scrambling. And it used to be that he would just set up from his office at the left dot, but not always the case. He still does that, but he can score in different locations, which I think is throwing the opponents off. For the longest time, it's like, well, if you guys got him covered from the left dot, then I guess we're good. Not the case, but we've heard praise from other teammates as well, Dylan Strome and Lindgren, who have marveled at Ovechkin's effectiveness regardless of who's in net. Quite something. And another milestone as well tonight, scoring on yet a different netminder to the mix. So again, he keeps knocking down milestone after milestone. But Lindgren, he really went out and said he is, quote, the best hockey player in the world, unquote. And at the end of the day, it's kind of hard to argue with that. Some people that aren't Capitals fans might say, it's, this guy or that guy, he's good at this or that, but bad at something else. Listen, all the milestones and what he's accomplished, I don't think you can really knock anything that he's done. And as he, concludes his career, a year and change left on his contract, we will marvel at the greatness that is and was Alex Ovechkin, because right now we are seeing a fully engaged grade 8, and it is definitely some fun hockey to watch. But wow, what a game Sunday, guys. If you didn't get a chance, make sure and watch that game. Watch the highlights. I already did that. I watched the game and watched the highlights. It is quite something what he has been able to put up. And let's hope he can stay healthy. And let's hope this Capitals team can keep rolling. All right, so after the break here, I'll talk about the Capitals' impressive performance in the Sunday matinee against the Oilers. A big win, a 7-3 win over a really great hockey team. How did they get it all done? I'll break it all down next. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they've packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shell variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days, whether I'm snacking at my desk or on a road trip or just need a quick protein boost. They're always my go-to snack. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. To get snacking and get cracking with a snack that packs a protein punch, visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, welcome back into this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can find me over on Twitter. It's at DanCaps218. You can find the show on Twitter. It's at Locked On Caps. So, wow, what a weekend for the Caps. I'm going to go over the Oilers game, and then in the final segment, I'll go over the Penguins game. But a decisive victory in both games, and Sunday in particular, the Capitals really showed up to play. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Alex Ovechkin scores a hat trick. But just to break down the box score a little bit here and what the Capitals were able to accomplish, Ovechkin, 3 goals, 9 shots on goal, quite something. Jakob Chychrun, as well, had a goal, 5 shots on goal. That this team is dialed in, and good old Chucky Sideburns saves 22 of 25. You take a look at it, really making a case of a good 1-2 combo is Chris Patrick going to do the right thing and sign him to an extension? His play that we saw out on the ice against Edmonton, he's really making a case for himself. But let's dig into that. Quite a game. Again, Sunday, you take a look at it. Sometimes those back-to-backs are a little bit tricky, especially since the Capitals are coming off that Four Nations face-off break. But let's talk about that. How the Capitals got it done in a spectacular match against the Oilers. Ovi, well, he put on a show, scoring a hat trick that propelled the Caps to a 7-3 victory. Can you feel it, Capitals fans? They're not eking into victories. There's nothing out there that really has me worried about this team right now. Like I say, looking at the box score, the Winnipeg Jets, 83 points. Our favorite team, the Capitals, 84 points. Again, who saw this coming in the beginning of the year? Quite something. But Ovechkin's comeback after taking that Four Nations face-off break, it was evident that Alex Ovechkin returned with a fire in his belly as he returned to his high-scoring ways. He just was engaged. And you take a look at the game against the Penguins in particular, and there was some question about what we would see, as there was no goals, there was no assists, and 4 shots on goal. We saw a return to action from the Great 8 on Sunday afternoon. But you take a look at it, Ovi kicked things off with a classic shot from the slot, extending the Capitals' lead to 3-1, and that is what got that positivity momentum going. And that goal in particular was notable as it marked the 181st goaltender he scored on in Kelvin Pickard. Again, the stats, the accomplishments by the Great 8 continue to keep rolling. But that if that was just it, that would be good. But Ovechkin, he kept rolling in that game. He followed it with a booming power play slap shot that further pushed the Capitals' lead before sealing his hat trick with an empty net goal late in the game. You take a look at it overall, Ovechkin's tally for the season now stands at 29 goals, leaving him just 13 away from Gretzky's all-time record. I talked about that in the first segment, but he was the catalyst. He was the guy that stirred the drink for the Capitals, in particular against the Oilers. But now what's even more remarkable is that game winner Ovi tied Jaromir Jagr for the most game-winning goals in NHL history at 135. So he is engaged, and an engaged Alex Ovechkin is a fun Alex Ovechkin. But it wasn't Ovi alone, as Jakob Chychrun, well, he really came to play, and Tom Wilson as well. Tom Wilson shined with a goal and assist, extending his point streak to 3 games, and Jakob Chychrun netted his 17th goal of the season, marking his 3rd goal in the last 2 games. Sign him up to an extension right now. If there's any question about, or if it's too much money or this or that or the other thing, Jakob Chychrun is as advertised. And you take a look at what he has accomplished for this team, quite stunning. But, you take a look at the big leaders on this team. Jakob Chychrun right now has 17 goals, 22 assists. Not too bad for a blue liner. At the end of the day, it's his job to be a good defender, but what he's doing offensively is really coming up to shine for the Capitals. And a good thing as well in this game is that Connor McMichael got off the schneid. As there was some concern about what we were going to see from Connor in the second part of the season here, or after the Four Nations break, as he was in a bit of a goalless drought, but he ended up scoring his 20th goal of the season. So quite something for this Capitals team, as you take a look at it and what they're accomplishing here in the goal scoring department alone. It's stunning. Alex Ovechkin, he has 29 goals, and Tom Wilson, 26, Alexei Protas, 23, Connor McMichael, 20. That this, like I say, is one of the best lineups, if not the best lineup, the best roster of Capitals I have ever seen. And Dylan Strome, who has been huge for the Capitals, first line center primarily, has been absolutely huge for the Capitals, and he showed up to play in this game as well. 18 goals right now, so quite something for what Dylan Strome has been able to put up, and he is now riding an 8-game point streak. But, you take a look at that. Alexei Protas made his mark as well, recording his 3rd assist and hitting a career-high 50 points. And, he's a guy that really kind of pops off the page for me in particular. Is this, sometimes you see incremental growth. The growth that we have seen from him is, well, quite astounding. You take a look at this season and what he's put up: 23 goals. How many goals did he put up last year? 6. The year before, 4. The year before that, 3. This year, 23 goals. And you might be saying, well, did he miss some time? Nope. This season, in 57 games played, 23 goals. Last year, 78 games played, 6 goals. The year before, 58 games, 4 goals. Alexei Protas is growing by leaps and bounds. And make no mistake about it, it's a big thing with the confidence that's been put forth by Spencer Carberry. Everyone is singing the praises of Alexei Protas, and that is why this is a team to be reckoned with. But defensive resilience, we know they have the scoring touch here, but defensively, the Capitals showed great resilience, especially after giving up an early power play goal. And who was huge when he needed to be is Charlie Lindgren, bouncing back, making a lot of saves in this game, saving 21 of 24. So a great outing for Chucky as well in that Sunday matinee. And it's a luxury, I got to say, and I've talked here and there about should they move on from Charlie Lindgren. And, it's possible it might happen, but I don't want to get that far ahead. Right now, the Capitals are playing some of their best hockey with the Logan Thompson, Charlie Lindgren tandem that I don't know if I want to go ahead and mess with that a whole lot as far as, a lot of things are concerned. I mean, when you take a look at the lineup, we've talked about tinkering with the third line. that was a dominant weekend by the Capitals Saturday and Sunday. What are you going to want to change? And is it going to make the team that much better? At this point, I think it's ultimately about depth if the Capitals do anything. But, just to put a bow on this, the offensive firepower and sturdy defense has kept the Capitals climbing the standings and winning games. And that is what has me excited about this year's team. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I feel like the sky is the limit. All right, so coming up here after the break, we'll talk about the Capitals as they dominate their rival, the Pittsburgh Penguins. How did they get that done? I'll break it all down straight ahead. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets in a same game parlay. And there's a lot of excitement around the NBA. If you haven't noticed, the Wizards are playing right now, and you take a look at all the drama between the Mavericks and the Lakers and the All-Star game. There is a ton of excitement. But if you want invested or vested interest in any of these games, right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So just open up the FanDuel app. Just visit FanDuelApp.com to join right now. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. There's a lot to love there. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, welcome back into this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The best way that you can help grow the show is to subscribe to Locked On Capitals on YouTube and comment anything down below. All right, in this next segment here, we're going to talk about the Capitals as they dominate the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I don't feel too sorry about it. The look on Crosby's face as they just got plowed out in the field, kind of just like, what's going on, guys? It is a satisfying feeling as a Capitals fan to see just this team firing on all cylinders. And like I talked about, if we want to kind of just revel in this a little bit, the Capitals atop the Metro with 84 points, the Penguins in last place in the Metro Division with 55 points. So definitely the Penguins could have taken a page from the Capitals and tried to not wait till the final moment to rebuild their team. But ultimately, I don't care. The Capitals just really took it to the Penguins, and I got to say it was quite satisfying. So that was the first game, the return from the Four Nations face-off, and the Capitals came to play with an 8-3 victory. Quite a game, and it left the fans kind of like, what is going on? I think I need to get out of here sooner than later. But a great game to any of us that thought the Capitals may have any rust on the wheels a little bit. Not the case. PLD really showed up, putting on a show, racking up 3 assists, and proving just how well he's fitting in with his role with the Capitals. Again, these quote-unquote risky moves that former GM Brian McClellan talked about, he has been absolutely lightning in a bottle for the Capitals at that second line center position. And, he's, like I've talked about in the show, he makes the players around him better. I'm talking McMichael, I'm talking Protas, whoever he is playing with on that second line, he has been an absolute game changer. Remember, some people, it's a reclamation project. I am loving PLD's game. Jakob Chychrun, again, in the Penguins game, that's going to be the common theme through this entire podcast. We know what Ovechkin does, but Jakob Chychrun, again, has been just a game changer, a game saver. He has just really put this Capitals team in a good position and really helped solidify the blue line. But at the end of the day, it's his offense that really comes to shine. He made headlines scoring 2 goals and showing us what a strong blue line can do. It's safe to say the defense played a pivotal role in this win, and it did. It was the offense, but ultimately it was the defense that slammed the door on the Penguins. Bam! The second period in particular, historically, has been a bit of a trouble spot for the Capitals, but not the case against the Pens. After going down 2-1, the Caps came roaring back with 5 goals in the second period. How's about that? The Capitals really found the rhythm with contributions from Chychrun, Protas, Faravari, which pushed the score to a commanding 6-2 as we head into the third period. Again, this team is built to win, and that was evident against the Pens. But spectacular offense from the blue line. It's enough to help the defense to, help the netminder keep the puck out of the net. They're actually getting involved in the scoring. You take a look at Chychrun's 2-goal, Faravari, Matt Roy, and Rasmus Sandin all chipping in with multi-point games, collectively racking up 10 points from the blue line alone. Let's hear it for the blue line of the Capitals. Quite stunning. But like I've talked about, this is not the Capitals team of old. This is not just Alex Ovechkin and Oshie and Backstrom or some other facsimile. This is a team that has scoring up and down the lineups, and that's what I like. And in this game, we saw nearly every player registered a point, with the exception of Ovi, Eller, and Dowd. Other than that, this team was loaded for bear. And ultimately took it to the next level. But Dubois, ultimately what he's done all season is turns heads, as it was his second consecutive multi-point game, making him a key player as he currently stands second in the team, scoring with 47 points over 56 games. You hear that, Kings fans? Can you hear me, Kings fans, way out there on the left coast? Yeah, we are happy that we have him, and have fun with Darcy Kemper. We'll take Pierre-Luc Dubois any day of the week. I love his game. He's definitely on track for a career season, but it's contributions from some of, the secondary or tertiary players, I guess I'm going to say. Taylor Radish and Brandon Duhaime both recorded multi-point efforts. Brandon Duhaime, the guy with a snarl in his game, I love his game, was huge for the Capitals. And LT, again, huge, has been. Like I talked about in the show, it's Chucky, it's LT, it is dynamite. We love what we saw. Solid between the pipes, saving 30 of 33 and improving his record to 25-5. A stunner for him, for sure, big time. Talking about a player that's made an impact, that has made the most of his opportunities, Ethan Frank, scoring the opening goal and now has 4 goals in just a handful of games. That's the thing that Hendrik Slop here has not done on the NHL. I know that he's been playing great in Hershey as of late, and for that, I'm happy for the kid. But Ethan Frank is the guy that we've been looking for on the third line. And, you take a look at his speed. His speed was evident and key in a lot of the different plays in both the Pittsburgh and Edmonton game. And alongside Dubois, Strome was on fire, netting his 17th goal of the season on the PP and riding a 7-game point streak. His best this season, leading the team with 55 in 56 games. Again, that was in the Penguins game, but that's what I'm talking about. It's just up and down the lineup, and not a whole lot I want to do. Like I talked about earlier, where do we want to add? Do we want to add this? Do we want to subtract? I really don't. I don't want to screw up what's working right now at this point. And, I know my opinions have changed. They've vacillated. It's a fluid situation. I don't want to change a whole lot. I really don't. I would want to acquire a depth player, just because injuries could definitely be something that would knock the Capitals down potentially a peg or two. But I don't want to make any big booming changes that could really offset things a little bit here. All things considered, the Capitals sitting in first place in the National Hockey League. Would you want to, change a whole lot? I definitely do not. But the Capitals should make the most of this opportunities, as they're riding a high right now. Who knows what next season's going to bring? Alex Ovechkin here, a year and change. Who knows what players are going to come back? Those kind of things that the Capitals really need to make a concerted effort to win as many games right now as they possibly can. And they're doing this under the tutelage of mastermind Jack Adams, candidate Spencer Carberry, that I'm ultimately excited about this team and just really hyped. There is a special feeling, if I can talk candidly with you here for a moment, about this season's team that I haven't felt in a long time. Even 2018, there was question marks all over the place. This team, and it's funny that you take a look around the NHL, the insiders, they're even recognizing it now. This team is truly, I think, poised for great things. All right, once again, I want to thank you for joining me on this edition of Locked On Capitals, your only daily year-round podcast covering the Washington Capitals. And I want to thank all of you that listen on the audio side and watch this on YouTube. You are what makes this show successful. When you're done here, head on over to Locked On NHL, where they have you covered on the NHL 5 days a week, available wherever you find your podcasts and on YouTube. All right, once again, I want to thank you for joining me on this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It is your team every day. My name is Dan Holme, and I'll talk to you again next time.